Okay, this take could age very, very badly, but I think Arsenal are about to explode. I think they're clicking. I think they're getting to their very, very best. And soon we're going to see an Arsenal that resembles a side that can really, really go and lift this Premier League title. Now, I know a lot of people have been saying, have we peaked too early? That was a discussion on Loose Cannons with Jordan, Turkish and Chazelle. And it was a good question because we saw real heights from Arsenal when they beat Tottenham, when they beat Bayern Munich and other results this season, like Newcastle away. But I don't think we have hit our best. And this was something Turkish said. He was saying that he doesn't think Arsenal have actually got to the very best level they can get to. And I think we've got some evidence here that shows that Arsenal still have levels to go. And while, yes, we're frustrated with Arsenal and some of the goals they're leaving on the pitch, I think we're about to see it all click for the Gunners. I hope that doesn't age badly, but let me provide the evidence and hopefully you can see where I'm coming from. Sorry, I'm not on my usual setup. The audio might not be the best, the visuals might not be the best, but we still wanted to bring you some content, some breakdown. A big thanks to Max for bringing this video to life. Okay, let's talk about why Arsenal fans are feeling frustrated at the moment, because there's so much evidence that reflects why we're looking at our team and going, come on, yes, we're top of the league, but it could be so much more. And I think it's a fair thing to feel. Look at this. The XG philosophy has said that Arsenal players have scored one goal from 9.23 XG in the last 4 games, excluding penalties. That is absolutely extraordinary. One goal from 9.23 XG. If you ever needed evidence that Arsenal leave goals on the pitch, it's that stat right there. But there's more. Alex shared this graphic, which is the Premier League teams and their big chance differential table. And we'll look at that in some detail, but interestingly, he says that City only have 2 less big chances conceded than Leeds and the same as Sunderland. I won't go into that in too much detail. Let's look at it from the Arsenal perspective. When you look at this table in some detail, our big chance differential is plus 30. We have created 43 big chances this season and conceded 13. Man City have created the most big chances with 44, but have conceded 27 big ones. But as you can see, Arsenal have by far the best big chance differential in the league. Interestingly, Aston Villa are at -7. A lot of people have been talking about whether their football and their style of play has been sustainable. Look, we'll see what they're about at the Emirates on Tuesday night. They were brilliant against Chelsea, but it's a really interesting table to look at. And I think the reason this table really frustrates us is because when you compare it to the Premier League table, it doesn't reflect. We have a worse goal difference than Man City, who have a goal difference of 26 to our 22. We've conceded 10 goals less than Man City, despite the big chances being at 43 to their 44. So I think with that 2-point gap as well, we're sat there going, hold on, Arsenal have done so much great work in terms of how little we're conceding on our goal, how many chances we're creating, the dominance we're having in certain games. And yes, we're top of the league. Yes, things are looking good in the Champions League. There's a cup semi-final. I'm happy about all that. But there's a feeling that it could probably and should probably be more. And the other question Arsenal fans are asking is, this rate of missing chances, this rate of scoring goals, is it sustainable? And asking ChatGPT, they told me that only 4 sides have won the Premier League scoring less than 70 goals. Arsenal are on course to score 69 with the rate at which they're scoring this season. Now, those sides include United in 92-93, Arsenal, one of our best sides ever, 97-98 with 68 goals. And you can even look at Manchester United in 08-09, who had Tevez, Ronaldo, Rooney, only scored 68 goals. So scoring less than 70 goals, doesn't mean you can't win the team, can't win the league or be a great team doing it. But it does suggest that you need more than that to be able to get over the line. So that's why, in a nutshell, Arsenal fans are feeling frustrated. That's why, in a nutshell, we're feeling like we're leaving goals on the pitch and we need to see more, despite so much of what we're doing being really, really encouraging. Okay, let's look at this a different way then. Let's compare this team to 23-24, the best Arsenal side I've ever seen, and a side that, even if you compare it to Arsenal's great Premier League sides of all time, have actually topped some of their records. Let's have a little look at both league tables, 23-24 and 25-26 after 18 games side by side. As you can see, we're bettering the 23-24 side with 42 points, 1 win more and 1 draw more, where Arsenal had lost 2 games, Arsenal lost 2 games, but we obviously got that 1 extra win where we drew 1 more in 23-24. Now, 23-24, Arsenal had scored more goals, 36 to our 33 this season, but conceded 5 more, with the goal difference better at 22 this season to 20 last season. But how eerily similar are these league tables in terms of the points the teams have, in terms of the sort of run of results from Arsenal this season to Arsenal 2 seasons ago as well. The fact that Liverpool, Villa and City occupy the rest of the top 4 as they do this season as well. It reads eerily similar bar the fact that Liverpool just aren't in the conversation this year like they were, firmly in the conversation 2 years before. So if you took the data from Arsenal 23-24 and you did some of the number crunching and projecting that we've been doing this season to talk about why maybe our rate of goals is sustainable, this is what you'd get in terms of the 23-24 breakdown, where Arsenal, after 18 games in 23-24, had a projected points total of 84. Their actual points total was 89 at the end of that campaign. Their goals total was projected at 76. Their actual goal total was 91. I believe the most ever scored in a Premier League season for Arsenal. And the goal difference was projected at 42, but the actual goal difference was 62. So, again, Arsenal did something in that second half of the campaign with the 16 wins, 1 draw, 1 defeat that basically skyrocketed us up the table. And the question is, can Arsenal put that kind of run together again? It's not just the results, it's the rate at which we were scoring. 6-0 at West Ham, 6-0 at Sheffield United, 5s, 4s everywhere. Arsenal on the road were emptying stadiums because the amount of goals they were scoring and how early they were scoring them. Are Arsenal going to go on that kind of run? When I talk about Arsenal clicking, I think us being on the brink of it, I don't know if we're necessarily going to get that, because I think Arsenal came as a bit of a surprise to teams that season. Yes, we were considered a very, very, very good side, but I don't think teams were expecting that kind of rate of firepower from Arsenal. I think this season teams are onto it a little bit more. But the idea that we can't kick on and build on those performances, because remember in 23-24, we lost to West Ham at home. We went and lost to Fulham away. Though we went out of the FA Cup to Liverpool, all games in which we left goals on the pitch, the feeling was that, okay, that's really frustrating, but the chance creation is there. Can we click? At least this season, Arsenal are getting those results. At least Arsenal, when they haven't clicked necessarily in terms of finding the back of the net, they've actually been scoring the goals to propel them up the table and ensure that we keep hold of top spot. Now, to be fair, let me show you this league table too. Because in 23-24, after 21 games, Arsenal slipped down the table, 5 points behind Liverpool and 3 points behind City. So actually things didn't click for Arsenal immediately after 18 games. It wasn't in the 20 games following that Arsenal put this amazing run together. It still took a little bit of time for it to click, but the signs were there that Arsenal were going to. The hope is that Arsenal don't have any slip-ups in terms of results to concede any more positions and points in the table to our rivals. And then when we do click, we're putting together those results that ensure that, come the final day, we're not looking back at some of the results going, oh, what cost us to Man City on the final day? Actually, in those worse moments in front of goal, we still got the results and the points. We still kept our lead. And as we clicked, we started to, if not pull away, at least keep a firm hold on the lead. Now, look, like I said, this is all with the assumption that Arsenal will click. But I think when you look at the performances that we put in, when you look at the chances we're creating, when you look at the fact attackers are coming back, players in general are coming back, and we've done this with an injury crisis, we've done this with a really hard opening set of fixtures. I think our first half is significantly harder than our second half, but we will obviously see as the season goes on. I think there's plenty of reason to believe that Arsenal can get going and are starting to play some of their best attacking football. Yes, we saw some great attacking football earlier in the season, but the idea that it's sustainable, can only get better, I subscribe to that. And I think some of this data suggests that Arsenal fans should just hang tight with the team, because I think it is going to happen for us. But there's more I want to show you, because some of you are saying, okay, James, that's all well and good, but there's Man City. Man City are playing brilliantly. Man City are getting goals from all over the pitch, goals from distance, big wins away from home like Forest. They're on a brilliant run themselves. And that's true. And that sort of looming Man City is a reason for us to feel, especially when we had a 6-point lead on them, that, yeah, this could get a little bit concerning for us. But I want to show you our results compared to Man City's results, the exact same fixtures that both clubs have played after 18 games. And you've got them here. Arsenal and City have both played Spurs at home, Villa away, Newcastle away, Leeds at home, Fulham away and West Ham at home. Those are the only 6 fixtures that they've both shared after 18 games. Now, you can look at the exact results there, but I think what's interesting is how Arsenal come out on top for so many of these stats after the exact 6 identical games. We scored 15 goals in those fixtures to Man City's 12. We conceded 4 to Man City's 11. We've got a goal difference of plus 11 to Man City's plus 1. And we've got 15 points out of those games to Man City's 9. So comparing how we do in other fixtures like Liverpool at home, which we'll find out soon, like Brentford away, like certain games like that, we will find out probably in the next couple months, we're going to find out a lot of those. Man City travel to Sunderland. How do they do that? That's all going to be really, really interesting to see. But in a nutshell, this kind of fearing of what Man City are doing, the reality is we don't have that many results to compare after 18 games. Only 6 of them have we actually shared the same fixtures at City, and we've come out significantly on top for a lot of this data in the direct fixtures compared. So again, just to ease on some of the doom around Man City are doing this, Arsenal aren't doing this, well, just compare what you absolutely can compare and what's fair to compare. Arsenal are coming out on top in that as well. I think it's important to acknowledge that and not just doom over what Man City are doing. So, talked about the projecting of 23-24, kicking on, the clicking, comparing what we're doing to Man City, what they're doing. I think there's one area that Man City have shown that they're starting to really get the best out of their gunmen, and I think that's something Arsenal can learn from. I talked about Arsenal adding goals from zone 14 / from the outside of the penalty area, because I think we are leaving goals on the pitch still, and I think there's a clear way in which we can do that. I think we've seen evidence this season of how we can get the best out of our attackers. I want to show you Arsenal goals, and I've just titled it near zone 14. When I say near zone 14, I essentially mean goals outside of the area or as good as. You got Zubimendi versus Forest, Eze versus Palace, Nwaneri versus Brighton, Trossard versus Sunderland. All 3 of Eze's goals versus Spurs, Madueke versus Bruges, Martinelli versus Bruges again that day, and Ødegaard versus Brighton on the weekend. Now, we talked about how Arsenal have managed to add these goals in a video we did a month ago, how Arsenal fixed their biggest problem. We talked about the fullbacks and the generating of chances from zone 14 to get more goals from distance. Go check out that video if you want to learn more about that. But what's interesting is I felt in previous years that Arsenal didn't score enough of these goals, the kind of goals that Foden and Shirky and players like De Bruyne for Man City have scored so often. Rodri. They pop up with these big goals and big moments. And I think they're doing it because they're able to platform their players to get them in those areas of the pitch to hurt teams. Now, I think Arsenal have improved in this area. I think they've improved massively. But in that list, I didn't mention a Bukayo Saka goal. Eze, all 3 of his, well, okay, there's Palace as well, but they've come in 2 games as opposed to across a cluster of games despite them being 4 goals. I think in that list, Trossard has 1. I think these are players we can get more out of from that area of the pitch. And the way to do it is simply putting them there. Let me show you some heat maps. Foden, who scored 7 goals from an XG of 4.5, is floating around the pitch. Now, sometimes because he's playing in the 10, but he's often playing in wide areas. Shirky from the right is still floating into different areas of the pitch as well, scoring 2 goals from an XG of 1.2. Saka's got 4 goals from an XG of 4.8, so he's under-delivering in terms of his XG as opposed to the others who are over-delivering. But as you can see, his heat map has him very much out on the touchline for this season. And Trossard, 4 goals, to be fair, exceeding his XG of 3.3, but again, much more on the touchline. I think Arsenal can do more in terms of getting Eze, Saka, Trossard when they're playing wide, Martinelli too, on the inside, nearer to goal, having shots from near enough the outside of the penalty area, areas where they've got great finishes on. They've got strikes with their left foot, their right foot. They're players who can make the unpredictable happen, who can drop a shoulder, open some space and find the far corner. I include Eze in that too. I include Martinelli. And I want to see our players platformed in that way to do that more. Nwaneri as well. Could Nwaneri play on the right as opposed to coming into central midfield, but with license to tuck inside? And Timber, White, Calafiori, Nkapie, Lewis Kelly, whoever it is, hugging the touchlines and going on the outside and allowing our wingers to come on the inside a little bit more and get those shots off a goal. Look, I did a video last week. It was basically about Bukayo Saka playing up front because I want to platform players like him into the areas of the pitch in which they can hurt teams more, the areas of the pitch in which he can be most effective and be most involved in the game. But it was also about this side of the game too, getting strikes at goal and getting our most dangerous players near goal. Maybe someone like Gyökeres will benefit from having players floating around him too, but whoever you go with, I just want to see our killers not out on the touchline, but a little bit more central. Now, to be fair, Mikel Arteta is having a great season. Arsenal having a great season. We are playing some brilliant attacking football. And to be fair, you know, we've left goals on the pitch. These players are getting opportunities and we should be scoring more goals. So maybe there's not a lot to change. Just keep doing it, the goals will come. But I feel like we can still tweak things to ensure that it's our killers near a goal who are getting these chances. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below on this video. Do you think Arsenal are about to click Villa will be a real test of that for sure. But remember, even if things don't go right against Villa, there's a long way to go this season. And Arsenal have shown that even a little bit later in the campaign, they can click and get going and play their best football and get enough in terms of goals, points tally, all that to win the Premier League. But I think it needs to start a little bit sooner this season. Let's not leave anything to chance. Let's build on this momentum we've got and start scoring the goals that we deserve for the football we're playing. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Big thanks to all of you tuning in. Hope you have a happy new year, and I'll catch you all very soon.